A lot of narcissists tend to create self-fulfilling prophecies. And if you don't know exactly what I mean by that, it's when a narcissist accuses you of certain intentions that you don't have, or insists that you're going to do something that you're not going to do or you have no intention of doing. And then because they keep insisting on these things or they keep predicting these things over time, it actually causes you or pushes you in that direction to where you wake up one day and realize, I think I really am going to do this thing that they keep insisting I'm going to do, or I think I really do feel the way that they keep telling me I'm going to feel. And this is a really horrible place to end up in for many different reasons, which is what I'm going to explore in today's video. Why do narcissists tend to do this? And how can we look at it in some ways that can help us deal with it, get through it, and not blame ourselves for this? Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. If you're somebody that has come back to my channel several times and you're enjoying my content, I just want to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And now let's get into the video. First, let me give you some examples of what I mean by self-fulfilling prophecies, some really specific examples. A narcissist might say something like, you're gonna abandon me just like everybody else. I know you think you're gonna be around forever, but I know you're going to abandon me. Or they might say something like, you're going to cheat on me. I know you will. I know you want to, and it's bound to happen one of these days. Or you don't really love me. I mean, maybe you think you do, but I know you can't, you really don't. Or yeah, maybe you think things are going well right now, but you're gonna get tired of me. You're gonna get bored with me just like everybody else. When you hear these types of things over and over again, especially over a number of years, and you're stuck in this hopeless situation of trying to prove, like, I'm not going to cheat on you, or I'm not going to abandon you, or I'm not going to get tired of you, it can really wear you down. And life pops up different situations, feelings change, situations change, and many times we can get so worn down by being accused of something that just isn't true that we can actually start moving in that direction. And then we have to deal with this guilt of like, oh, maybe I really am going to abandon this person. maybe he or she was right. Maybe I really am going to get tired of this person, because I sure am tired of being told that I'm going to get tired of him or her. So I actually am getting pretty tired of him or her. So let me break down several reasons why narcissists in particular tend to do this. And I don't think that they all do this, but it's very common for them to do it. And there are actually a lot of reasons that all kind of come together in a sort of spider web of narcissistic tendencies that create this bad habit that they have. The first one is projection. Narcissists are projecting their own feelings onto you. They really can't understand that you are an autonomous human being with your own feelings and perceptions and whatever. They feel like if they really aren't able to love, or if they really don't understand why they should be faithful, why would you? If they're not someone that they would trust, how can they trust you? They know their own intentions and their own lack of trustworthiness. They know what they're capable of. A lot of them know that they're actually going to get tired of you, or something's going to go wrong. So they're going to project that onto you and assume that you're going to do those things as well. I mean, if they're insisting that someday you're going to cheat on them and you probably already want to, they're probably talking more about themselves and how they feel. If the narcissist isn't cheating on you, but they keep telling you that you're going to cheat on them, this is a way they can project their own feelings and pretend that you're the one that's thinking of cheating, not them. They would never do that, but you're probably going to do that. Or maybe they are aware that they would be perfectly willing to cheat if given the opportunity. And so they're projecting that onto you, and they're accusing you of that because they know you're going to do the same thing. You're no better than them. And this is also a way for them to project the fault and the blame onto you. Any problems that come up in the relationship, it's actually your fault. Anything that they do to destroy the relationship, somehow it was your idea. You're actually the one that created that. Maybe they cheated on you, but it was only because they knew that you were going to do the same thing. Maybe they fell out of love with you, but it was only because they knew that you were going to do the same thing. So it's really your fault. They're projecting their own behaviors and their own lack of commitment or what their own faults onto you so that you can take all the blame. Another reason that narcissists create self-fulfilling prophecies is to gain control or to feel as though they have control. If they really think that you're going to cheat on them someday or you're going to get tired of them and leave them someday, which they may already be aware that that's a very real possibility because they may be aware of how horribly they're treating you and how much worse it's going to get. So part of them might already know that someday you're going to have enough of this and you're going to leave. Well, they need to gain control of that. They can't let you leave on your own terms. So if they can do and say things to sabotage the relationship, at least they had control. At least they took control and they ended the relationship. And they can look back and say, yes, she or he got tired of me constantly telling them all the horrible things they were going to do or all the other things I did to destroy the relationship, but at least I had control over that. I'm the one that destroyed the relationship, not them. They would rather push you out of the relationship than to sit and wait for you to make a decision. So that's one reason that they might drive you crazy with these accusations and self-fulfilling prophecies, to kind of make the other shoe drop instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, to just make what they already feel is inevitable happen on their terms. Now, a completely different aspect of this control is the way that these accusations and predictions might actually control you. It might actually keep you from leaving. If this person has been insisting all these years that you're going to get tired of me, you're going to leave me just like everybody else. I know that you will. Then when you actually start feeling like you are tired of this person, you really do want to leave, it can make it a lot more difficult to admit that, because you've probably spent maybe years trying to prove to this person, no, I'm not going to get tired of you. What are you talking about? No, I'm never going to leave you. Why do you think that? Trying to prove it to them, jumping through hoops, going to extreme measures to try to show them that you're never going to want to leave. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, I really do want to leave. I really am tired of this person. Maybe they were right, but I can't admit that now because I've spent so much time and energy trying to prove to them that they were wrong, and well, they were right. And so this actually will control you, or it can control you and your decisions. You might stay a lot longer waiting for things to get better or trying to figure out a way to live a semi-unmiserable life with this person because you're too proud to leave, or you just don't want to admit that they were right. Or maybe you don't want to be that awful, horrible person that abandoned them. You know, they've probably spent all this time telling you about all these horrible people in their past and how they didn't understand them and they abandoned them and they treated them like crap. And now you're going to do the same thing. Now you're going to be one of those horrible people. That can be really hard to make that shift in your mind, to realize that you've actually been wrong all these years in the way that you've perceived this relationship, and maybe the way that you've perceived the people that have come before you and have been in the narcissist's life before you. That's a really big pill to swallow, to realize that you really aren't any different than all these people that have come before you. You were just the next in line. So this is a really great way that a narcissist can control you and keep you in place long after you want to leave. Another reason that narcissists create self-fulfilling prophecies is their lack of trust. Narcissists really can't trust people. And this goes back to projection a little bit, but it's kind of its own separate issue. They really cannot trust that somebody could actually love them. And a lot of this has to do with their own self-loathing. They like to pretend that they're the most amazing person that ever lived, or at least the most important person that ever lived. But they know deep down that they're not as amazing as they are pretending to be, and they think even less of themselves as what they truly are. So they have such extreme, serious self-esteem issues that they really honestly cannot believe or trust that anybody could ever love them. If you are telling them you love them or trying to prove to them that you love them, they really think that you either aren't smart enough to understand who they really are, or you're falling for their facade, and if you really knew who they were, you wouldn't love them, or they just think you're lying to them. They think you're trying to trick them. They cannot accept the idea that somebody could actually love them, partly because they never really show anyone who they really are. I mean, they don't even know who they really are. How can they show anybody their authentic self when they don't even know who their authentic self is? And how can you love them if you don't really know who they are? So in a way, they're kind of right about this. How can anybody love somebody that they don't know? And they know that you don't really know them, but you might not know that. So this just creates this extreme lack of trust in them. They don't trust anyone enough to show their authentic self. They don't trust themselves enough to look at their authentic self. So they figure at some point things are going to crumble, because I think part of them knows that a relationship based on a facade, on a story, on a fantasy, and on lies is eventually going to crumble. And another reason they can't trust people is because they know that they're not trustworthy. They know that you're going to have to eventually betray them in some way in order to protect yourself. I've said before, it's kind of like if a burglar was breaking into your house. They don't even know you, right? But can they trust you? I mean, if you're home and a burglar's breaking into your house, does the burglar trust you? Not to, I don't know, try to hurt them or whatever. No, I mean, of course the burglar can't trust you, and it doesn't matter who you are or what kind of person you are. They don't have to know you. They know themselves. They know what they're doing. They know what they're trying to get away with. And because of that, they already know that they can't trust you. They can't trust anyone because they cannot be trusted. So this is another reason that they don't believe that things are going to go well. They really believe that things are going to end badly and that you're going to betray them someday. And a lot of the times they are right. Another reason for these self-fulfilling prophecies is that narcissists need to feel superior. They need to know that this is all your fault, kind of like with the projection. But with the superiority, it's like, well, I'm not the one that's going to cheat, or I'm not the one that's going to fall out of love. You are, because I'm a better person than you. Narcissists can't really handle the idea that their character flaws are going to be the ones that end the relationship. And I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself after talking about the whole control thing, where they want to be the one that ends the relationship, but they don't want to be the bad guy. They want you to be the one left holding the bag. They want it to somehow be your fault. They want control over it. They want to be the one that calls the shots, but they also want it to be your fault. They want to be the one that comes out smelling like roses. So this is why they will keep perpetuating these narratives and ideas that you're the one with the problem. You're the one that's going to do these awful things. You're the one, surely, that will abandon them someday. So that when you actually do these things, they can point and say, oh, I knew it. I'm not at fault here. This is your fault. I'm the better person. You're the one that broke your promises. You're the one that can't be trusted. You're the lesser person. You're the bad guy. And this ties into another reason they do this, which is preparation. Narcissists are preparing for the inevitable. Some of them might not completely understand or be conscious of the reasons that their relationships all end in disaster. Some of them are aware, but some of them aren't. But almost all of them are aware on some level, especially if they're older, that for whatever reason, every single relationship they have ends in disaster. And so they have to prepare for this long ahead of time. They've got to make sure all their friends know that something's wrong with you, and they got to make sure you know something's wrong with you too, so that when, for whatever reason that they just can't figure out, everything ends in disaster as it always does, they can point the finger at you because they have prepared long in advance for this. You have probably spent this relationship thinking that you're going to be with this person for the rest of your life, or committed. At least you've probably been in this relationship feeling committed to it, maybe trusting it, thinking that it was permanent and where you wanted to be, and not thinking about how it's going to fall apart someday, unlike the narcissist. So you probably never saw this coming. And you probably were absolutely bewildered and perplexed as to why they didn't seem to have the same trust in the relationship that you did. So when things do finally come to a crash and burn end, you're stuck there holding the bag because you were completely unprepared for the way things ended, because you had no idea the kind of person you're with. And the narcissist is kind of standing there like, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, and I told you. And this really helps them to achieve their ultimate goal in all this, which is to avoid accountability. Somehow this is all your fault. They knew this was going to happen. Maybe they can say to themselves, I tried to talk to you about this, or I tried to warn you about this. See, I was right. Or I knew that you were going to cheat on me, and you sat and told me I could trust you. You lied to me. This is your fault. And of all these horrible things that they've done to destroy the relationship, including constantly badgering you about things that you had no intention of doing, they still are finding a way to blame it all on you and avoid all accountability, largely for themselves and their own ego. You know, their ego can't really stand to take accountability for, especially for something like destroying a relationship for no good reason. I mean, that's a pretty stupid, awful, destructive thing to do. And I think their egos just really can't handle responsibility for that, especially with how bad it would make them look if other people understood what actually happened. They have to put an enormous amount of energy into preserving their reputation, because their reputation is far more important than the relationship. So instead of putting any effort into preserving the relationship, instead of putting effort into not allowing these prophecies to come true, they focus on their reputation. They focus on how this is going to make them look in the future. That's the priority. That's what they're going to panic over. That's where they're going to put their efforts, into how best they can avoid accountability. For me personally, I have experienced this ad nauseum, and it's really unsettling when you find a relationship that you trust completely, that you think is it for the rest of your life, and that you're fully emotionally invested in. And then you start to realize that your partner doesn't trust the relationship the same way you do. And not only that, but they're blaming it on you. They're saying to you that you're the one that's making me feel unstable, or like I can't trust this relationship. And it's really unsettling because it can be confusing. Like, well, I trust this relationship. I want it to last. I feel like I'm in a relationship I'm going to be in for the rest of my life. Why doesn't my partner feel that way? And why are they blaming me? What am I doing wrong that my partner feels insecure and unstable in this relationship? How can I fix this? Because I know that this relationship is going to last forever. How can I convince my partner, and what am I doing wrong that they don't already feel that way? And you can get really stuck in this very toxic dynamic, trying to prove something to somebody that really is incapable of trusting things in the same way that you are able to do so. And then, of course, over time, as you become absolutely worn out, sick and tired, and even full of contempt and resentment towards this person that doesn't trust you when you haven't done anything to destroy the trust, it can really start to mess with your head when you finally get pushed to the point where you don't want to be there anymore. Or maybe you do cheat on them. And especially in the very end, when you're trying to get away from this person that is possibly abusive and dangerous and frightening, you do commit ultimate betrayal if you have any interest in protecting yourself, when you start making an escape plan behind their back. I mean, I don't know of a greater betrayal that you could commit. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Of course, in my opinion, you have to do that to protect yourself. When you have been betrayed, when the narcissist has betrayed you, and the abuser has betrayed you by abusing you, by exploiting your trust, and by putting you in danger, you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. But you're stuck in this trap that they've built for you where you feel guilty about it, where you feel like you're the fraud, you're the liar, you're the one that really can't be trusted. And this is no accident. They have set this up, some of them on purpose and some of them just out of old habit, but they've set this up so that you end up in this horrible situation where you're not only dealing with the collapse of a relationship that you thought you were going to be in forever, you're not only dealing with the trauma of being in an unsafe place, being stuck in an unsafe place and having to find a way to escape, but you're also dealing with your own doubts and with guilt and struggling with these opposing voices in your head, with this one that's been programmed in there for so long, trying to prove how trustworthy and loving and committed you are. Now having to do this complete 180 in order to protect yourself and take your life back. I mean, it's just, it really messes with your head, and it just adds to the extreme difficulty of escaping an abusive relationship. So I just want to say, if you've been in a relationship where you've been accused of things that you have no intention of doing, and where you've been badgered and harassed as this person with intentions you don't have, feelings you do or don't have, just false accusations, and now you find that, oh, maybe these things really are coming true. I think in this kind of situation, with everything else you have to deal with, it's good to remember that you're not the one that signed up for this. This is not what you signed up for. You are the one that was lied to. You are the one that had a fraud perpetrated on you, and you were the one that was abused and put in this impossible no-win situation. You didn't ask for any of this, and now you have to somehow find your way out. It's not your fault if somebody went into a relationship under false pretenses with you and pretended to be something they weren't, and then used these self-fulfilling prophecies as a manipulation tactic to control you and make you feel exactly how you feel right now when you're trying to get out. This is just more pieces of the puzzle that come together to try to control you and your life, and it's not your fault, and you have every right to do whatever you need to do to take your life back. So if you're in this kind of situation, I think the best thing that you can come to terms with is that it's okay for you to let go of this need to prove that you're the good guy. Let go of your pride when you're dealing with a narcissist, because you're going to lose those battles every time. And be okay with and learn to accept the idea that the narcissist is going to see you as the bad guy. You cannot control that. The narcissist is going to, at least in their own mind, blame this all on you. But that doesn't mean that you've lost. Honestly, when you are dealing with the end of a narcissistic relationship, the best way that you can actually win is to let go of your pride and to just allow them to believe that they are the one that's right. Allowing a narcissist to remain in his or her delusional, miserable world, allowing them to believe whatever they want to believe about you, it's uncomfortable, it's infuriating, it's invalidating, but I can tell you in hindsight, it is 100% worth every minute of your life that you get back from them. It is a small price to pay to get away and to start living life on your own terms with people that can actually see you for who you are. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.